and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. Now this right here, this point, is talking about the scattered of Israel that are going to be scattered in all nations. You know, that's what makes these other nations blessed. You know, because as the scriptures say, the Lord isn't dealing with these other nations. He's only dealing with the nation of Israel. So what's going to make these other nations blessed? It's the children of Israel that are among them. But reading on, verse 4. So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. So pretty much this the Lord speaking on to Abraham, and he's telling him, look, I'm gonna make you a great nation, and your seed after you. You know. So then we gonna move to the next chapter to prove how it went from Abraham onto Isaac. You know. What chapter is that? Let's get that. Genesis chapter 26. Genesis chapter 26, and let me get the next chapter real quick. Or the chapter before that, because I want to show how is speaking of, he's speaking to Isaac. Um, well, yeah, I'm gonna just start at the top. Genesis 26 and verse 1, because it mentions Isaac, so we know it's speaking of Isaac, Salakia. But Genesis 26 and 1, and there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua, appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and I will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed will I give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. All right. So the Lord is telling him plain and simple, look, I'm going to tell you the same thing. This is the same thing I'm telling you is the same thing I told Abraham. I promised them a blessing, and I'm telling you the same thing, you know. So reading on, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and I will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. All right. So this is the same thing he's telling Isaac. Now we're going to prove also how it went from Abraham, Isaac, and now he's going to we're going to prove how he also went to Jacob and told him the same thing. Genesis chapter 28. We're going to start at 10 to show us talking about Jacob. Genesis 28 and verse 10. And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran, and he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took off the stones of that place and put them for his pillows, and lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set upon the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of the Most High ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord, power of Abraham thy father, and the power of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. All right. So it went from Abraham to Isaac and to Jacob. The Lord told these three men the same thing. And this is exactly what is still to this day. Because we're going to get that scripture. Let's get that scripture. And this is spirit. This is coming up because I don't have this written down. I want to find that scripture where it mentions the Lord changes not. This is the book of Malachi, chapter 3, and verse 6. Malachi, chapter 3, and verse 6. For I am the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. All right? So the Lord is saying, plain and simple, he doesn't change. So he's, what the Lord said, thousands of years ago, is the same thing that's going on. It's the same thing that's in effect to this day, you know? So I just wanted to grab the scripture to show, the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not too long ago, we can say about a few thousand years ago. And so the same thing that he did, the same oath that he made is still in effect onto this day. It hasn't changed, you know? So from there, let's go back to Genesis chapter 28. And so he pretty much proved how it went from Abraham to Isaac and to Jacob, in the Old Testament. Let's get another scripture. Because it's pretty much plain. It's pretty much plain, the book of Sirach. Sirach chapter 44. And we'll start at 19. Because, I just wanted to grab the scripture too, because it's pretty much showing you it's simply going into it, how it went from Abraham to Isaac and to Jacob, Sirach chapter 44 and verse 19. Abram was a great father of many people. In glory was there none like unto him, who kept the law of the Most High and was in covenant with him. And he established the covenant in his flesh, and when he was proved, he was found faithful. Now, when it mentions where he was proved and was found faithful, it's talking about when the Lord tried him, all right? Because the Lord tried Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac, because the Lord told him, in thy seed is how he's going to perform the oath which he swore unto him, Reading on, therefore he assured him by an oath that he would bless the nations in his seed, and that he would multiply him as the dust of the earth, and exalt his seed as the stars, and cause them to inherit from sea to sea, and from the river unto the utmost part of the land. With Isaac did he establish likewise for Abraham his father's sake the blessing of all men and the covenant. Now this the all men that is talking about only within the nation of Israel. All right, because as we read, it told us, we're gonna get that real quick. Matter of fact, as it says, through thy precepts I get understanding. So we're gonna get that just to show how it, the Lord is only dealing with Israel. Psalms 147 and we'll start at 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. All right. So it's saying he only showed his statutes and his judgments unto Jacob. All right. And the law, statutes, and commandments unto Israel. He has not dealt so with any other nation. As for his judgments, they have not known him. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about the covenant, right? The covenant being established concerning the law, statutes, and commandments. So if it says these other nations have never known them, how could it be that it's talking about all men, including other nations, But I just wanted to prove that real quick. But back to the scripture. I'll start at 21 again. Therefore he assured him by an oath that he would bless the nations in his seed, and that he would multiply him as the dust of the earth, and exalt his seed as the stars, and cause them to inherit from sea to sea, and from the river unto the utmost part of the land. With Isaac did he establish likewise for Abraham his father's sake the blessing of all men and the covenant, and made it rest upon the head of Jacob. He acknowledged him in his blessing, and gave him an heritage, and divided his portions among the 12 tribes did he part them. So that's plain and simple, you know. It's saying it went from Abraham to Isaac and to Jacob, and then it went on to the 12 tribes, you know. So that's pretty much plain and simple who the Lord's dealing with on to this day, you know. So that was pretty much the point of this lesson, you know. I hope it was clear and understandable, you know. It was kind of drawn out because I wanted to prove and prove um concretely, Salaka, if that's a word, but just wanted to prove, you know, showing, you know, how it literally went from Abraham to Isaac and to Jacob, you know, and it didn't go to any other nations, and that, you know, he's only dealt and still is dealing with the nation of Israel, you know. So I want to say the water Yahweh Bashim Yashai, call hello Yahweh Bashim Yashai for putting the spirit upon me to do this lesson. And once again, double honors unto the artists of Israel, which are the artists of great millstone, who rule well and teach well. And peace, blessings, and salutations to you, Akim, that continue to push and do the works in truth and in sincerity. With that, I'm going to say shalom.